742 of you just proved what psychologists like me fear. Life feels like it's moving too fast and doesn't mean anything. And I'm hearing about this crisis everywhere, online from you, but also in person with everyone I work with. Everything feels shallow and messy and pointless. Things feel like they're moving, but nothing matters. And this leaves us feeling not much of anything besides a helplessness and hopelessness in the future. If you're feeling this way, I want you to know you are not broken and you are not addicted to your phone. What you are is starving for meaning. You're starving for meaning. I felt this today when someone asked me, "How was your weekend?" And I thought about it and I couldn't really remember anything that I did. It's kind of like trying to find an old post on Instagram or TikTok and you just kind of if you didn't like it, you can't really find it. It's just sort of gone forever. That's kind of what my weekend felt like. And I also hate that I had to give a social media metaphor to explain what that is like. Everything feels like it's turned to easy mode and nothing feels real anymore. And I'm naming this the Midas comfort curse. I think it's everywhere in life right now. So in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to decode that curse. We're going to talk about how it was built and what it's doing to your brain. And I'm going to give you one tool that you can take with you to end this curse starting today. All right, let's get into it. So, what exactly is the Midas comfort curse? Well, it's inspired by this Greek myth of King Midas. Now, King Midas was an individual who loved pleasurable pursuits. He loved food and drink and wine and gold. And he was granted one wish by the gods. And the wish that he took was to have everything that his hands touch turn to gold. And at first, this wish was pretty amazing. It was pretty magical to just like touch stuff in the palace and just have it turn to gold. It was pretty amazing to see this. But when King Midas sat down to do one of his favorite things, to wine and dine himself, he went to get his wine, and the wine, the goblet or whatever it was, I guess here, the wine, this is peppermint tea, one of my favorites. But this is his glass turned to gold. The wine turned to gold. He couldn't drink it. It was nothing. He went to get some grapes to enjoy, and the grapes turned to gold. And he was getting kind of flustered and alarmed, and his daughter came to see how he was doing and what was up. And when King Midas touched his daughter, the person he loves more than anything else, his daughter turned to gold. This desire for more, this desire for abundance completely unraveled King Midas's life. It robbed him of the very things that he absolutely loved. And I think we're all doing this exact same thing right now in our own lives. Everything has turned into a different kind of abundance. Everything we touch isn't turning to gold, but everything we touch has turned into some type of immediate gratification. We see this in all the ways easy mode has been turned on in our lives. We see this in food delivery where with the tap of a button, you can have food suddenly appear at your front door. We see this in shopping, where Amazon has created this one marketplace that has every single thing you could possibly want in the world available to you. And most of the time, it can be delivered the next day, sometimes even within hours, the same exact day. We see this in our entertainment. We turn on Netflix, we turn on YouTube, we turn on TikTok, and there are thousands, if not millions, and I don't know how many videos are on YouTube, probably more than millions, maybe a billion. How many? I don't know. There's billions of minutes. I know that. Um, endless entertainment is available for you just at the tap of a button. We see this with dating. You can swipe, and find someone to date. There's a abundance of options available for you, seem like they're available for you, just at the top of as a top as a at a, how do you say English? At the tap of a button. And now we're seeing this with thinking as AI is appearing. Now we can outsource our thoughts and our critical thinking to the large language models of ChatGPT and Gemini and all the different AI solutions that are out there. And at first, this was pretty amazing. It was pretty cool. It's come at a very deep cost. It's created a new Midas curse for all of us. And just like King Midas, what we find is everything we're touching is being robbed of all of the joy. There's no effort anymore. Everything feels empty. We feel helpless and we feel hopeless. What's actually going on in your brain? There are three different things that are coming together that create the Midas comfort curse. And we need to understand each of these things if we want to break the curse and get back to some sense of meaningful living. So the first thing really comes down to is dopamine. I know it's super trendy to talk about dopamine. All the bros are talking about dopamine right now, but I'm a psychologist. I was talking about dopamine before. It was cool to talk about dopamine. But let's talk about what this instant world of abundance has done to the way we experience dopamine. People think that dopamine is this neurotransmitter that's associated with pleasure and joy. You swipe on TikTok, find something fun, you get a hit of dopamine, you move on, move on, move on. And the problem here is we're getting too good at pressing our own buttons and getting that dopamine hit, that dopamine hit, the dopamine hit. That's not how dopamine works. Dopamine is not something that's like, oh, all this confetti, you've gotten the thing you want and it feels good. It's not about celebrating the end of a race by releasing all this confetti. Dopamine is like a starter pistol that tells you to start the race. And the more work there is to do, the farther away that goal is, the louder that starter pistol is, and the more encouragement you get from dopamine. We evolved this way because for our ancestors, any goal worth doing required a lot of effort. There weren't really a lot of quick, easy things that our ancestors could achieve. Those gatherers and hunters and those people that lived in small tribes, creating shelter, being on guard, finding a mate, taking care of your young, gathering food, being on the lookout for predators, all this kind of stuff, making tools. They didn't have 3D printers, everything had to be created. All the things that were worth doing required a lot of sustained effort. So, dopamine is really something that helped our ancestors do all that hard work. As they started to think about doing something, dopamine was released, and it was a way of encouraging you to reach that end goal. It turns out if there isn't the more distance there is between starting a goal and achieving it, more dopamine is released, the more pleasurable the experience is, the more worthwhile it is. Now, if thinking about that goal and achieving it is like this, you're not going to feel much of anything. You don't really need much dopamine. If the goal is just to experience some amusement and you swipe on TikTok and you experience something funny, you might be like, ha, but it wasn't, there wasn't much effort there. There wasn't much dopamine released. Watching a funny clip from a comedian on TikTok and then just swiping away, it's kind of a meaningless experience. And you look at the analog to that, in real life, going to a comedy show, planning for it, getting tickets, carving out the time in your day, going to wait, getting a spot, waiting for the show to start, and then waiting for the comedian that you're interested in. It's an incredibly different experience. And I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying when it's very easy to access something, when there's no lag between desire and outcome, you don't experience much dopamine at all. There is no real reward to that, and that can make things feel really meaningless. This is a big problem right now because there isn't much that we do in our daily life that has a big lag between desire and achievement. And in fact, there's research that shows if you imagine a goal and then you start to imagine yourself achieving that goal, you're already getting a decline in dopamine. Our brain is such a good imagination machine that even imagining getting your goal makes you feel less motivated to get your goal. So the more effort, the more hard work, mental, physical work that something takes, the more pleasurable that experience is actually going to be. We need anticipation, we need excitement, we need to work towards it. I was thinking about this with like, this is one of these times in my life where I feel like such an old timer because I was thinking about Netflix, and the Netflix I grew up with was the original Netflix where you would make a list of movies you want to watch, and then you would receive those movies in physical media and DVDs or maybe later Blu-rays that were mailed to you after a few days, and then you would watch it and then you would return it, and then once they received your DVD, then they would send you the new one. So it was a days long process. And I remember I would be so excited when a new movie I wanted to see was released, and I would be checking my Netflix queue to see when it's coming and when it was shipped. And then I would count down, okay, it's usually like 2 days from when it's shipped to arrived. And then I would rush home and see if it's there. And if it's there, I'd be so excited. And then I'd be so excited to watch it. And even if it was like a crappy movie, it was a good experience because I was anticipating something and then I got it and that felt good. And that kind of experience is so different than Netflix now. Now, it's like when my wife and I sit down to watch something, oh my gosh, there's so many things to watch. We can't decide on what to watch. So much of it seems just like crap and not even worth it. Uh, if you told me 15 years ago that this kind of Netflix would exist, I would have told you that sounds amazing. That sounds so much better than what I have right now, where I have to wait for DVDs to come in the mail. And that's the problem with this no lag in dopamine, this instant everything. It feels like it should be good. It feels like this should be better. It feels like this should feel good, but it doesn't. And it doesn't because there's absolutely no effort required. From desire comes outcome. And what we're left with right there in the middle is absolutely nothing. No pleasure, no reward, no gain. It doesn't feel like anything at all. That is the dopamine problem here. Uh, no effort, no reward. The Netflix example I gave you also points to the second main problem here with the Midas comfort curse. That's what I call it, right? Yes, Midas comfort curse. And the second problem here is a problem of overwhelm. If you think back to our ancestors, they didn't have a lot of options in the food that they could eat. They didn't have a lot of options in the shelter that they could create. They didn't have a lot of options in the mates that they could choose. They didn't have a lot of options in the careers that they could have. Just going back to my grandparents or my great grandparents, you had like maybe 1 to 3 options of what you could do. you had like almost no options of where you could live. So much was sort of set up for you. Now, obviously, that is not the life I would want. But when we go to my dad and my mom's generation, they had a bit more options available to them. To me, it seems like there's an infinite amount of options available to what I can do with my life. And with that many options, it's kind of overwhelming. Where do you even go? How do you even start to figure out what you want to do? How do you even figure out what you want to watch on Netflix? It's a difference between going to In-N-Out Burger, where they have cheeseburger, burger, fries, shake, soft drink. That's on the menu, and yeah, there's a secret menu, but it's a secret menu. It's not really what you see. Versus going to a diner where they have like over 100 items on the menu. You can get a burger, but you can also get soup. You can get salad, but you can also get a chicken pot pie. You can get somehow Chinese food on the menu, but you can also order a pizza if you want. It's endless, the options that are there. And so often when I'm at a diner, I just spend so much time going through and trying to find something I want. When I lived in New York City and we went to diners a lot, I would find one thing on the menu that I want, and I would just order that every time I went to that diner. I wouldn't even look at the menu because it would just be so overwhelming. And it turns out that there is real psychology here. It's called decision fatigue. Your mind doesn't differentiate between deciding what to say in a text, how to respond to an email, what to eat at lunch, who to date, who to ask to marry you, who to ask to break up with, what career to pursue, which shoes to wear, what hat to wear. All of these decisions are decisions. And the more decisions you have to make, the more exhausting it is. Every decision is depleting that mental willpower in your brain. Your battery is going down and down and down. And the more it's depleted, the more fatigued you are, the more you've exhausted yourself of decisions, the worse decisions you make, and the more impulsive decisions you make. Netflix knows this. They know that it takes users so much time to figure out what to watch. So, the main thing Netflix wants you to do, and YouTube and TikTok and all of these media companies, the main thing they want you to do is just to start watching something. They just want you to stay on the platform. In the case of YouTube and TikTok, they want to serve you ads. In terms of Netflix, they just wanna keep you forming a habit with their platform so you don't unsubscribe, right? They don't want churn. They want retention. They want long session time. They want you to be on there for a very long period of time. This is what all these platforms want. So what they do, because it's so overwhelming, is they just try to shove something in your face. They autoplay these trailers or they autoplay the next video. And the reason they do that is they know you're probably going to be so exhausted, you're going to have so much decision fatigue that you'll just watch the thing that they're shoving down your throat. More options doesn't make choosing easier, it makes choosing harder. And the more options you have, the more overwhelmed you're going to be, and the more you're going to just give up and make a bad decision. This is the second problem of the Midas comfort curse. And if you notice, you'll see it everywhere. It's with Amazon. I, I would almost rather go to my local Target that is out of my way if I wanted to buy like a toothbrush versus going to Amazon and searching for a toothbrush. Because you search for a toothbrush and you'll find like hundreds of options. And then it's like, okay, gosh, I guess I need to figure out what is the world's best toothbrush for me to buy. I guess I'm researching toothbrushes now. Toothbrush. What's the plural of toothbrush? Toothbrushes, I guess. Uh, and it's like this old bit from Modern was it Modern Life? What was Aziz Ansari's show? I know, before he was canceled and then maybe uncanceled, I don't know. Um, Modern Love, Modern Life. I forget what it's called, but he had this little bit where he wanted to go get tacos, and he wanted to get the best tacos in New York. And there was some debate on Yelp over, was this taco the best taco or this taco the best taco? And he was so exhausted by this and couldn't figure out which taco to go get and which one was the best one. So I think he ended up not getting any tacos in that episode. And I think that's what a lot of us feel like. So many and a abundance of opportunities, abundance of choices leads you to make either no choice or a bad choice. And again, that makes everything feel meaningless. It robs you of the joy, it robs you of anything that feels good. And for most of us, we wake up already the first thing to do is look at our phones. We're looking at all these text messages. We already start making decisions. We look at the emails. We start making decisions. Then we're going about our day. We're trying to do some work. We're making decisions. We're trying to figure out what to watch to relax. We're making decisions. By the end of the day, you're just exhausted. You're overwhelmed. And you're wondering, why do I feel so crappy about all of this? The third part of the Midas comfort curse is about struggle. And here I want to talk about IKEA. There's this thing called the IKEA effect, which means when you struggle, when you put in work into something, in the case of IKEA, when you buy furniture and you spend like a day putting it together, trying to piece together what all these instructions mean, what is that little person with the screwdriver, what are they trying to communicate to you here? Um, when you put in all that work to put a bookshelf together, to put a desk together, to put a bed together, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of friction, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, you get frustrated, but it feels really good to put it all together. You feel a sense of accomplishment. When you put in the work into something, you value it much more. So a bookshelf that you put together through IKEA that spent a lot of time from you constructing it, you're going to value that so much more than a bookshelf that was pre-built and brought in, or something that you paid someone else to put together for you. Now, I'm not saying we all need to construct our own furniture together. I didn't put this together. There's not much in this office that I did put together myself. These plants aren't even real. I don't care about these plants. This is totally fake just to give you a pop of color here. Um I'm not that kind of person that puts a lot of things together, but the few things that I have put together, I really do value. I really value these videos that I construct and craft and share with you all as much as I really value the communication we have over YouTube and email. I write all those things. I don't automate those things. I don't want to delegate that to something else because I really value that. And I really value learning from you and having that connection with you. This whole video came from a comment that gave me an idea that put words together to all these experiences. I really value that stuff because I'm making that stuff. We are making that stuff together. We are collaborating in it. This also speaks to the problem of right to repair. There's like almost nothing in this phone that I can repair myself. And our grandparents, the reason they kept a lot of appliances around is a lot of those kind of things, or old cars, they could work on them. And when you work on them and you fix them, you value them more. But the stuff that comes pre-built, or the stuff that feels disposable that you can't fix, you don't really value because you can just get another one. Who cares about it, right? So this is the IKEA effect, and we're really wired to find meaning through struggle, through friction, through the satisfaction of accomplishing something with our own hands, doing something ourselves. But the problem now is so many things come pre-built, pre-thought, pre-done. Food often comes pre-made. Your entertainment is pre selected by algorithms. Even your photos now that you see in your Photos app are algorithmically curated for you. There's no effort in figuring out what's your best photo of the day or reliving all these memories. I hate that stuff so much. And more with AI, what we're going to see is we are outsourcing thinking, critical thinking, planning, and creation itself. All of this stuff is getting pre-made for us. And we're given a few options, which ends up making all of those options seem totally disposable, totally meaningless. And you all captured this really perfectly in a few comments that you shared with me this past week. Reality feels fast, shallow, pointless. And someone else said, we're automizing the world and sacrificing connection for efficiency. I think you all really feel this. I really feel it. I'm seeing it. You're seeing it. This is something real. You're not imagining this emptiness. And just think about the last time you made something from scratch. Think about the last time you cooked something without a recipe, you ate something that wasn't takeout, that wasn't pre-made. Think about the last time you made something without a YouTube tutorial. I kind of like that word for like a terrible tutorial, a tutorial. I don't know. Think about the last time you made something without a template. And if you're having a hard time thinking about that, then that is the Midas comfort curse in action. That is proof that this is something that is taking over a bunch of your life. And if you're feeling that way, don't worry, because I am too. And I'll share a little bit about that later on in this video. When everything is instant, nothing feels real. When everything is effortless, nothing feels worthless. You're not lazy. You're not ungrateful. You are experiencing the psychological cost of convenience abundance. You're experiencing the Midas comfort curse. Putting it all together, the Industrial Revolution made it easier to make stuff and to flood markets with stuff. And then the internet revolution made it easier for us to get that stuff immediately. And now the algorithmic age, it is deciding for us what stuff we should be seeing, what stuff we should be experiencing, what stuff we should be thinking, what stuff we should be doing. If you look at this last hundreds of years or so, with each of these revolutions, humans are slowly getting excluded from the equation. The Industrial Revolution took, you know, years and years and years. The internet revolution took about a decade. And now this AI algorithmic revolution is happening faster in a scale that's never before seen. So if you're feeling that anxiety, if you're feeling that overwhelm, if you're feeling that hopelessness, I am too. Don't worry. And there's something we can do, something very human that we can do, and something very practical that we can do. All right, let's talk about ending the curse. Let me do this hopefully in a way that you don't have much glare. So let's talk about the solutions that you usually hear about on YouTube. So the first one here is to ban phones. This is Jonathan Haidt's favorite thing. Let's no phones till 16, return to high risk old school parenting. We need everyone to be parenting and living like boomers. Now, this doesn't work because it is incredibly impractical. And if Jonathan Haidt bothered to talk to any other young people before he writes these books, he would see that people are also really frustrated by the role that technology plays in their lives. And it's kind of the only way people have to connect with each other. So the genie's out of the bottle. It is the genie's out of the bottle. That's not what I wanted to say. I wanted to say Pandora's box has been opened. You know, you can't get back to the way things been. I also think this is a pretty backwards way to think about it because we're transitioning out of phones into this age of AI. So the tech is here, and trying to just ban the tech, I think, is the wrong idea. It's also, I think, bad psychology. You don't really tell people what not to do. What we need to do is tell people what to do. It's about understanding what people desire in the problematic behavior and giving people a new behavior that is still meeting those goals. So understand what's happening and find a new way to meet that goal in a healthier, more adaptive way. It's also not just about deleting apps. I think it's great to delete whatever apps are creating this Midas comfort curse for you, but are you going to delete social media? Sure, get that crap off your phone. Sure, I can't because I need it for work, but get it off if you can, right? Now, even if you do that, you're still going to encounter other problems of that instant abundance, the Midas comfort curse, whether that is in shopping or dating or all these other different ways in which we have to interact with the world. Everything is this instant abundance land. So, deleting apps, great if you can. It's not going to solve things. Monk mode, okay, sure, you can go for that when you got finals, you need to go into monk mode. Maybe that's sustainable for a short period of time. It's not something you can do on a regular basis. And same thing with raw dogging stuff. Like, okay, it's a little extreme. It's a little extreme to raw dog a coast to coast flight. If you want to go for it, go for it. I think that can be an interesting experience for a short period of time, but it's not sustainable over the long term. So let's talk about what you actually can do and what is actually sustainable. I'm a real big fan of finding solutions that can be sustained every single day, that don't require you to do something extreme that makes it harder to be in touch with your friends and family and to live life the way everyone else lives, right? I want to find sustainable solutions. And I also want to understand what is the need, what is the function, what is it that you're looking for? And it's not that you're looking uh, it's what you're looking for, what you need here is look at those three factors of the Midas comfort curse. So number 1 is we need to work on something over the long term. That's where you're going to get that real dopamine hit. You want to think of something and work on it in a while to get to that payoff. You also want something that is, you don't want an abundance of choices. You want to make it really easy for you to pick something. And I'm going to make it easy for you in a second. You also want to experience some friction, some struggle. You want meaningful work. That's what people are looking for. People are looking for meaningful action that really makes you feel like you're moving forward or contributing or learning. That's why we go to our phones. We're going for connection. We're going to learn something. We're curious. And what's happened is the world's best engineers are being guided by the worst leaders in business and ethics to create technology that is harvesting your attention, that is manipulating your mind to keep you stuck so that Meta and YouTube and all of these other companies can sell you crap. That's really the whole business model here is keep you hooked, harvest your attention, and get you to buy crap. So that way in which this technology is manipulating you, manipulating your curiosity, manipulating your attention, let's try to take that curiosity, that desire for meaningful engagement and intention and interaction, and put it into something good. And the way we do that is by pursuing a hobby. finding a hobby. And it's not just any hobby that I'm talking about, but there are four qualities to a good hobby that are going to help you to end this curse, to break this cycle. And I know this might you might be thinking right now, like, find a hobby. That seems so silly, Ali. The world is on fire, and you're telling me to like take up a craft? And it's like, yeah, yeah, I am. This is how you can break this dopamine curse. This is how you can learn how to struggle again. This is how you can sustain yourself so you can start to do that meaningful work that you want to do so you can advocate for the kind of future that you want. You want to do all these things. And I don't believe that the future is hopeless when it comes to our climate and our politics and AI. We can build whatever kind of future we want to build. Nothing is inevitable when it comes to technology and politics and our climate. I have a lot of hope here, but that work needs to start local. It needs to start in your community. And before you can do anything in your community, you need to work on yourself first. And to work on yourself, you need to start feeling that meaningful action again. You need to start feeling like you can be an agent of change in your own life. And the way you do that is by pursuing a psychologically healthy hobby that is going to break you out of this curse. We're going to end this Midas curse. And the way we're going to do that is by pursuing these four qualities. All right, number one is finding a hobby that completely absorbs your mind. There's this idea from Mihail Csikszentmihalyi, this famous psychologist who was a big name in the world of positive psychology. Unfortunately, he died a few years ago. I got to meet him once, and just a very kind and patient man. He really popularized idea of flow, this psychological state where you are absorbed in an activity, time is moving by quickly, you lose track of what time is actually it is right now because you're really pulled into this thing. I experience flow when I'm teaching. This is a problem with me making these videos is I might sit down to make a 10-minute video, then it ends up being 30 minutes just because I'm so absorbed in this that I lose track of time. I experience flow often when I'm riding my bike. And I just love the feeling of going fast and noticing the differences in all the senses around me. I'll experience flow with a really good slice of cheesecake. I'll be like really into it and completely lose sense of all my surroundings. A good video game will create flow too. This is something I talked to uh, Dr. Csikszentmihalyi about and debated with him because I think video games can be they're engineered to create flow, and he thought that because they're engineered to create flow, it's this false state of flow. And we kind of debated that a little bit. But finding something that really pulls your mind and the easy or absorbs your mind, and the easiest way to do that is finding something where your ability is meeting the challenge at hand. So if you are learning to play chess, you don't go up against a grandmaster of chess. Are they called grandmasters? I don't know. I think that's what they're called. I don't know. But finding something where you can start at the level that you're at. My new hobby that I'm going to pursue is cooking. And let me tell you why. The hobby I started to pursue a few months ago was writing fiction. In fact, I talked about that in a video I put out last week. The problem with that is I started to get way into like optimizing. Like, well, I could turn this into a blog and I could put it out there. And oh, maybe I can actually use AI to improve this story. And I started to try to make it better and better and better and do all these things. That was really then taking me away from the hobby. And it was making it much worse for me to experience. So I don't think writing fiction is really the a good hobby for me. And what I've I've started doing for a few months now is making popcorn, and I really it like from scratch, doing it all by myself, not just popping in a microwave, but I'm doing every single step of this to try to get like something that tastes like movie theater popcorn, but is far healthier and better for you. And I've really reached that goal and I like it. And now I want to experiment with like other flavored popcorn, like chocolate popcorn or kettle corn and all this. The problem with popcorn is it's not something I can do every day. And I'm looking for a hobby that I can do every night so I can stay off this damn thing as much as possible. So for me, I'm pursuing cooking, and the way I'm gonna do this and, for absorbing my mind, I'm a terrible cook. I never learned how to cook. My mom was a fantastic cook. Did not learn how to cook from her, and she doesn't cook anymore now. Um, I wish I learned from her, but I'm not gonna start with the hardest recipes. I'm gonna start with some things that are very easy to make at the level I'm at. In fact, the one dish I wanna try this week is fried rice. My kids love fried rice. I've heard it's easy to make. I'm gonna learn how to make that, and that is something that'll absorb my mind because it's right at the right effort and experience level for me. Number 2, something that moves your body. It turns out that dopamine is not only related to getting you motivated to get from the idea of a goal to reaching that goal. Not only is it big in motivation and experiencing pleasure as you're moving towards that goal, dopamine is also really important for movement. And I think this is probably because with our ancestors, a lot of the goals that they were working on required a lot of physical movement. Getting food, creating shelter, finding a mate, all of these things require you to move your body. So if you can find a hobby that also requires you to move your body, it's going to feel that much better. This doesn't mean you have to do some strenuous physical exercise or something like that, but it could be as simple as cooking for me moving your body. What's going to involve that is going to the grocery store that day, getting the dishes, getting the supplies I need, the ingredients, all those things, coming home and then moving around in the kitchen. You're always on your feet. You're always moving around. You're always doing something. So find something that absorbs your mind, moves your body. And then the third one here doesn't need your phone. It is so easy to when you're on your phone to get distracted by something, to get pulled into a notification, to get drawn into your email, to check your YouTube analytics. Not that I do that every single day of every single hour, but yes, it's easy to get pulled into your phone. So if you find something that's absorbing your mind, moving your body, make sure it's something that you can probably do without your phone or ideally without a screen. That's going to help you to be so absorbed in activity that you just forget that your phone even exists. Now, I want to talk about that just a little bit with video games and YouTube. I know that these are two super common hobbies that people have, playing video games and also like learning things on YouTube, watching history videos on YouTube, stuff like that. That can be good. That can be one of your hobbies. You can try out many different hobbies. It also can get you to that Midas comfort curse. So I've got this PlayStation subscription. I have so many games ready to go on my console that sometimes I just kind of like, I don't even know what to play. I've got so many things to try out that I get that decision overwhelm, or I'll get to a certain point in the game, get stuck, and just kind of give up and try something else. I don't really have that friction and working through that friction to reach that goal. So watch out for that. It's also very easy not to experience much movement at all when you're playing the video game for a long time. So I think it can be one hobby, maybe not the only one. And if you're watching YouTube videos as your hobby, make sure that you're not letting the algorithm drive you to a bunch of different videos. Have a specific goal in mind of what you want to watch, from whom, for how long, and make it more of an active process. Try to take some notes and try to share those notes or share your learnings with other people, which gets me to the fourth one here for finding a good hobby. that's going to help you break this curse is find something that comes with the tribe. Find something that comes with the tribe. Now, if you do that, and what I mean by tribe is a community of people who are also passionate about this hobby as well. For me, cooking is going to be an easy one because there's a lot of communities around cooking on Reddit, on YouTube, all over the place, on TikTok. It's easy to access these communities, to talk to people, to learn from them. There's also real life communities around it as well. But most hobbies have some type of community on Reddit and then in real life as well. If you're able to tap into a tribe like that, not only is it going to be fun for you to talk about this hobby from other people, but you'll also learn from other people, and you'll then have more things to talk about. You'll be interested more in other people, and you'll be more interesting yourself as well. It'll be really cool to discover and learn and share with other people about this thing that you're really starting to enjoy. So these are the options that you should really be thinking about, is finding something that absorbs your mind, find something that moves your body, find something that you don't need a phone for. For me, that's going to be tricky with cooking. I'll probably have to write down my recipes. I carry a lot of things like this with me so I can write things down so I don't need my phone to keep me away from my phone. So I'll probably do that, and then find something that comes with a tribe that has a community around it. Now, if you don't know what hobbies to pursue, there's a lot of resources about that as well. And I found a really good Reddit article about this. I'll link to it in the description below. But I'm gonna share with you some of the things that I learned from this Reddit. And the first one is like the most interesting hobbies, the ones that had the most upvotes, the most unusual ones. They're all things that have absolutely no productivity theater or optimization or hustling around it. Like, people are really into like stuff like bug collecting and growing plants and vintage vinyl collection. And sure, you could probably turn some of those things into some kind of side hustle, but this is an important part of all of this, is you're pursuing this just for the sake of pursuing it. It is to reset your dopamine. It is to restrict the choices of what you do in the day. It is to struggle on something, to work forward so you feel like you're doing some type of meaningful action. That's why you're doing this. You're not doing this to create a new side hustle or create some other kind of business opportunity. You're not doing it to create this like productivity porn that you're going to put on social media and try to build a following around it. No, you're doing this just for fun. You're doing this for your mind. You're doing this for your soul. You're doing this to find something that's going to nourish you. So let's talk about some of these categories of the kind of things that you can do and the kind of things that you might be enjoying over the next few days. So, first thing you can do is something related to self-expression. This could be drawing. There are a ton of resources on YouTube. There's a ton of books about just learning how to draw, learning how to sketch. I had this great book, and it's buried here somewhere. Maybe I can find a picture and share with you all at a different time. But it's this book about learning how to draw the way kids learn how to, or the way kids naturally draw. And I love this book because it's taught me that I'm overthinking everything and there are no rules to all this stuff. The only rule is to like have fun with it, and you can draw like a little kid, and it's kind of helped me to rediscover all this stuff. My daughter, I will often ask her to draw something and I try to follow along how she's drawing so I can draw like her, and it's just so cool to do that. So you can find some form of self-expression yourself. You can do photography. You can listen to music or discover music or make some music yourself, stop motion videos. You can do cosplay, 3D printing. There's a ton of collecting out there. So if you got that collecting mindset, you can collect vinyl, like I said before, collect old cassette tapes. Cassettes are back in now. You can find an old iPod, upgrade it with a new memory inside, and then you can put your music there and take it along with you and really enjoy experiencing music that way. There's a lot of resurgence into nostalgia tech. There's a lot of activities you can do. So, going to the gym, whether it's lifting weights or cardio, that kind of stuff. You could also get into running or like bird watching or yoga or model railroads. I don't know why I put that under activities, but sure, model railroads. Crafts are a cool one. So whether it's woodworking, making models, embroidery, bonsai, gardening, making sourdough, finding some type of craft activity where you're actually constructing things and using your hands, that is a ton of fun. There's role-playing stuff and gaming. So I don't mean like video games, I mean like Dungeons and Dragons or Pokemon, a ton of tabletop gaming, live action role playing, LARPing, paintball. Why is it paintball under role playing? That should be a different one. I need to reevaluate this list. I need to talk to whoever played this list or put this list together for me. It's me. I'm the one who put it together. And then there's a bunch of like random skills that you can pick up. You can learn how to pick locks. Yeah, go for it. That is a useful skill. That's a fun skill to do. You can learn magic tricks. You can learn ham radio. You can learn a new language and practice that language. These are things that y- you're never going to get done at any of these things. You can keep pursuing all of these things your whole life. And then let's say you have no money, no ability to move around, you're totally stuck. You can also develop another hobby, which is to explore the internet archive and go back and find like weird, interesting websites from the 1990s and see what the internet looked like across different decades and different time and put all these pieces together, print them out, find a collection of your most interesting favorite weird websites that existed back in the days. It's weird. I remember all of those days, and I remember GeoCities and TrekWeb.com and going to all these places. I kind of want to revisit that stuff. It's not about monetizing. It's not about side hustles. It's not about building an audience. It's about picking one thing and trying it out this week. Try it out, see what it's like, see what interests you, look at what you're curious about and let your curiosity guide you forward into this hobby. Find something that is absorbing your mind, that pulls you in. Find something that moves your body. Find something that doesn't really need your phone. Find something that comes with the tribe. Why is this stuff stuck to this? Um, and just try it for a week. Do it badly. This isn't for anyone else but you. You're not trying to optimize here. You're just trying to experience it. You're trying to reset your dopamine. You're trying to move forward on meaningful action. Just see what it's like. And if you like it, then keep doing it. And if you don't, try something else. Just like I'm ditching writing. That's okay. It's too close to this work that I do. I'm too get into optimize mode. I don't want to do it anymore. So I'm going to try cooking. Let's see what that's like. And I'm going to try making fried rice this week and just see what it's like. Let your curiosity guide you. And I know this sounds like this utopian Star Trek thing. Just we work to better ourselves, but it's not that. It's it's about this hardcore dopamine reset. It's about getting back to the way our ancestors lived. It's about taking back control of our brains from all of these tech companies that have completely optimized for the wrong thing. They've optimized for harvesting and extracting value out of humans as opposed to using technology to amplify the best of humanity. It's about taking back control from that. And this is how we do it. Remember, your brain is not broken. It's just longing for a slower world. It wants to build a more meaningful life. This is what we're trying to do here. It's it's about relearning where to put our attention. It's about moving away from Amazon Prime Day or that crappy new Netflix movie that looks like it was generated by ChatGPT. It's about saying no to all that junk that Instagram Reels is shoving down our throats. It's about breaking that curse. It's about breaking the Midas comfort curse. So let's take one small action, one small reset, one small step. That's all it takes. And I promise I will cheer you on in this journey. I'm right there with you. And I will be right there with you in the comments. And I hope to see you there.